professor or a teacher said. So women, I mean, to the extent that they can now say that, because you can't say boys and girls in many elementary schools.
You are the ones like removing the ability to speak about gender in the classroom. That's a you thing. There was no one on the left trying to restrict that. In fact, the left was trying to enhance people's education on these topics. That's 100% you. That's we could no longer say boys or girls in the classroom because of Ron DeSantis? Yes, that because of Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis did that. Anyways, let us laugh.
To have them on our shows,
Oh, by the way, I saw a bit at the start of this. I haven't seen the second half when apparently there was a big Israel-Palestine debate.
Ache to debate them, but they won't debate us, and they won't come on our shows, and they won't have us on their shows. I have offered tens of thousands of dollars to any left-wing columnist on the New York Times to debate me anywhere they want.
That's not
they
me.
could choose the moderator. They could choose the audience, and serious money.
Joining us now is Dennis Prager, the man you just saw in that video. And Dennis, I guess you could call TYT acetaminophen because we don't want you to ache. We want to make sure we give you an opportunity to feel good.
Sorry, that's such a bad word. You know what bugs me the most about that, and all much love to Anna, is that I feel that one was a prepared zinger. That was like, you cooked it up last night when you were thinking about how do we open this whole thing, you know? She's been hanging out with Jake. It's like a dad joke. It's like opening with a dad joke.
By debating someone on the left.
Funny, 'cause I was thinking, if only you were a New York Times columnist, how much money you'd be making now.
Well, I'm a little more honest than.
See, and then I got met with another dad joke. It's just like, you could have just let his dad joke kind of like whimper out on its own. Like that one would just go out and it's like, womp womp, and you're like, okay, that's kind of funny. I don't know.
New York Times columnist. So this will be a great conversation. Thank you for doing it. So I wanted to.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So I wanted to just kind of start off with, I guess, disagreeing with the notion that the left is afraid to have these kinds of discussions or debates. In fact,
Yeah, I would love to have these discussions and debates with Dennis. Hold on. Where did he tweet that? On Twitter, I'm being cursed, even wished death for having said on Newsmax during the AIDS crisis. Can you imagine if gay men and intravenous drug users, who were the past majority of people of the people with AIDS, had been the pariah the way the non-vaccinated are? What? Was there any talk about banning anyone with the AIDS for using the all public transportation? The pariahs, the non-vaccinated part? Gay people were fucking treated like they were all disease infested, like subgenerates of society. It was horrifying what happened to them. People who are like, I don't want to get the needle because it gives me the 5G are in no way comparable to that. He's such a monster. And then the rest of it is just him retweeting Larry Elder over and over and over. This is so much Larry Elder retweets. It's still going. Okay, finally. I had a conversation with Israeli podcaster Tamir Dotal. Interviewed Megyn Kelly. Thought for the day. Social justice is to justice what the Democratic Republicans to democracy. So he doesn't tweet much. He's not really a poster, if I'm being honest. Going through this, they're pretty sporadic. I think it's used probably by a staffer to promote some. Even then, it goes from like, I mean, we're already in October 2020. I know people where if I've been scrolling this much, I wouldn't have been through the first couple hours of the day in terms of their tweeting. But I don't see the tweet in question. Did he delete it, or is it just a really, really old one? I know he's part of that whole, like, the left refuses to debate. They refuse to debate us. And it's like, no, every single time you say that, there's so many people, like Sam Cedars, like, you know, like running after you.
Had tweeted that video that we started this conversation with, and there were a lot of responses from prominent individuals on the left. I want to give you a few examples, starting with Vosh, who's a big Twitch streamer. He's got a big YouTube channel as well. He says, you couldn't be more wrong. I love spirited debate in the free marketplace of ideas. He even provided his email and would love to have that conversation.
This would have been a great opportunity for Vosh to have put something in here that was a little bit, let's say, spicy. Maybe like, oh, and also Mummy Melky or something at the very end, just so it popped up on the screen during this debate.
With you. My good friend Ben Burgess also responded. He's a great guy.
Hi, Ben.
He says, hi, Dennis. I'd be delighted to chat with you either on my show or you could host it through PragerU, or I'm sure Modern Day Debate or some other neutral platform would be happy to host it. And on multiple occasions, I noticed that Sam Seder would also love to debate you. So he responded in that tweet as well, saying available and adding,
oh, it was on
Tim
PragerU.
Pool knows what lengths he would go
They
to
won't
not even
debate
be
us.
on the same stage as me, right, Tim? So there's some drama with Tim Pool, but just wanted to let you know you don't have to ache anymore. There are lots of people on the left who want to debate you.
Oh, I have no doubt that there are a lot of people on the left. The issue that I raised was people at the New York Times and people like you, for example. You pleasantly surprised me by doing this, to be perfectly honest. And by the way, I think proof of my theory.
I found it. The left, they won't debate us. We'll see. We'll see if it takes place.
Is a piece that I read on some left-wing or progressive site just today about how angry many of your viewers are that you're having me on. Whereas I will tell you, I would get no such feedback from the right if I had a left-wing person on my show. They would be thrilled. So I still
then why don't you
stand
do
by
that?
my belief that in
How many left-wing people has Dennis Prager platformed? Do we have a number on that?
general, the people certainly in the higher echelons of the left don't want to debate. But it's probably not worth debating whether there would be such a debate. I presume we're having one now.
Yes,
and
yes.
I'm glad we are.
Well, look, the left isn't a monolith. There's a lot of disagreement on the left. There's certainly a lot of disagreement on things that I say on this show on various issues, even when it comes to crime. I'm sure you've noticed some of the backlash I've received in that regard as well. However, I will say there is a reason why the right wing tends to be more open to having these kinds of discussions and debates, and the left wing gets a little uneasy about it. And it's because there has been this prevalence of prominent figures who identify as the left, right, or on the left, who then later start to, cozy up to right-wing figures, and then it turns out that they completely move to the right wing because they're essentially paid to do it. They're used as tools by the right wing to essentially spew right-wing talking points while purporting to still be on the left. In fact, Dave Rubin's a great example of that. Dave Rubin used to work with us. He identified as someone on the left.
Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Forgive me, Anna. Dave Rubin made a video for PragerU, why I left the left.
Oh, I know.
He does not, in fact, state to the world that he's still on the left. I don't know who you have in mind, so
He never said he says it now. He's now a reformed Christian conservative. We all know that. But back in the day, yes, it was definitely, and that's why he was a useful pawn for the right.
Can only address the one name that you gave. Dave Rubin
Pool's a
acknowledges he's not on
milquetoast centrist
the
fence
left.
sitter.
It's interesting
apparently
because
voted for
if I
Bernie
recall
Sanders.
correctly, you had a conversation with Dave Rubin and how incredibly important it was that he was engaging in these discussions with you, discussions with the right wing, and you stated something very specific. I actually want to go to that video and I want to get your thoughts. Maybe you can elaborate on what you meant in this video. Let's watch.
I want you to continue to say you're a liberal because you're of great use to good values.
Well, don't worry, I'm not doing it for your use of me. I'm doing it for myself.
No. It's like Christians who say to me, oh, we would love you to come to Christ, but you are so valuable to us as a Jew when you defend us Christians.
Yeah.
And they're right.
The left brings
you are
receipts.
valuable in the best sense of the word because America needs people who are clearly
right's gotta start learning that.
Liberal and to be honest, and fall into the category of kosher as gay.
Yeah.
To say, hey, hello, the conservatives are not hate mongers. Hello, they should be heard. And maybe every so often you should read National Review,
right,
or watch a PragerU video.
So, Mr. Prager, you can understand why members of the left would feel a little uneasy when these discussions take place, because usually it's a sign that someone on the left got lured in with some billionaire cash, like Dave Rubin did.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an unfair statement. I don't accuse people on the left of having their positions because of money, and I don't think you should do that with regard to conservatives. Alan Dershowitz is not a right winger, but Alan Dershowitz said to me,
okay, I saw a lot of people super mad that this was even taking place and being like, why would you ever platform him? He's such a horrifying monster. Don't get me wrong, Dennis Prager is, but he's not like an astute debater. It's not like you're bringing someone on who could potentially upend this whole thing, flip it on its head, and then Anna will be like, okay, you're right. I agree with the far right now. It's kind of like racist old grandpa, racist old transphobic grandpa's coming on the show. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. It's just going to be more embarrassing optically for him because of like how out of his, it's kind of weird that he wants to be this new debate lord, that he's constantly being like, why, I invite John Oliver on the show and all this stuff. And it's like, Dennis, come on. Like, you are stuck in like 1925, I would say, in terms of beliefs.
Harvard professor who's very well known. He's lost all his friends because he defended Donald Trump in court. He didn't even vote for Donald Trump. Just merely defending his right to have a defense was enough for him to lose his friends. The assumption on the left is that if you're a conservative, you're a despicable human being. And this is a perfect example.
Okay, I'm going to grab Chico's bed so he can hang out in here with me because he's clearly like, where's my bed? He just got back from daycare, so that's why he's all amped. That's why you're all amped. Oh, you got that smile. So I don't know if you know this, but like dogs don't seem to smile all the time. Hey, buddy, how are you? Good. Did you have fun with your friends? Are you playing? Say hi to the world. They love you. You don't know this. They love you. Yeah, he doesn't like smile naturally, at least he didn't, but he tries to emulate our smiles. So in the morning when you see him, he'll have this creepy forced smile like, and I'm just like, oh my God, you're doing your weird little like smile. You're learning the smile. Okay, hold on, let me grab this.
The only reason Dave Rubin would have done it was for money. I don't know anybody on my side of the spectrum who holds their positions because of money. There's a hell of a lot more money on the left anyway.
Really?
If you want to get money. Yeah,
how is PragerU funded?
The Washington Post.
How is PragerU funded?
The Washington Post. by people on the internet and by wealthy donors. But PragerU is pittance compared to the money that is available just to BLM. How much money was given to Black Lives Matter? By the Ford
Not by billionaire donors. They certainly received quite a bit of money from individuals who wanted to donate to that cause. Okay. But if you think there's a lot of money on the left, I mean, you would be mistaken. But I do want to move off this because there are actual topics, issues that are worth discussing.
The richest zip codes vote Democrat. Mm-hmm. The wealth today in America is disproportionately on behalf of Democrats and the left wing. That's either a fact or not. Anybody could look it up.
There's a difference between voters in wealthy parts of the country and who ends up serving as donors, both for politicians, corporate politicians, of course, and for right-wing media. If you think left-wing media has major billionaire donors, again, you'd sadly be mistaken. But the information regarding PragerU, which, by the way, you're listed as an organization that's tax exempt, correct? And you're not supposed to be talking about political issues. But last time I checked, PragerU talks about a lot of political issues.
Well, then you haven't checked in a long time. For example, we never did a single video on Donald Trump, and that's not exactly political. We just did we put out a video a week. So we have 500 videos out about, and we just put out one on Millard Fillmore. If you consider that political,
riveting.
Most people never heard of it. We're doing every single.
He admitted it? Wait, one sec.
Regarding PragerU, which, by the way, you're listed as an organization that's tax exempt, correct? And you're not supposed to be talking about political issues. But last time I checked, PragerU talks about a lot of political issues.
Well, then you haven't checked in a long time. For example, we never did a single video on Donald Trump, and that's not exactly political. We just did
that doesn't make you apolitical. What are you talking about?
We put out a video a week. So we have 500 videos out about, and we just put out one on Millard Fillmore. If you consider that political,
riveting.
Most people
Oh my God, I have the best news ever, everybody. We are beating PragerU in live streaming numbers. How do you have 365 people watching you with 3 million subs? This makes no sense. Your live show, 365 watching? Man, that bodes well. Not to say that there isn't massive live streamers, okay? Fucking Tim Pool pulls in like 50K. Steven Crowder pulls in like 90 to 100K. Like, they are both like, they're like XQC level fucking live show streamers. But that's fucking sad as fuck. 365 watching. Wah, wah. I think I even have that sound effect, don't I?
Pew, pew, pew.
No, not that one. Wait, hold on. We got it. I know I'll find it. Just so many things. High level ideas. Sad tuba. Not quite it. I'm gonna just do this. But anyway, sorry, the reason I'm on the site. Who cares about illegal immigration? Apolitical. Israel, good or bad? Apolitical. Why Americans are buying guns? Apolitical. The genius of Thomas Jefferson. The great pragmatist, James Madison. So these are history. Has feminism ruined work? Apolitical. Is America losing its mind? Apolitical. Secularism, the age of the absurd. Is Israel an apartheid state? Is liberty in your nature? Student loan forgiveness scam? Apolitical, apolitical, apolitical.
Never heard of it. We're doing every single president. Many of our videos, probably at least half, are purely educational. So to tell you about every president, for example, Democrat or Republican, by some noted historian.
No, that's still not the one I was thinking of. I was thinking of. I think I used to have that on my soundboard. I don't know what happened to it.
It's a caricature of PragerU for you to say that we are largely political.
PragerU.
What? We just like. You're nothing but politics. You're completely political. There's very few non-political titles that were in there. Maybe the music one, but even the music one, it's like, does God like ordain the beauty of music upon us? I was like, the politics. You're adding religion into a discussion of music.
Who describes itself as conservative. Like it's a conservative take, which by the nature of it being conservative is political. But listen, it is what it is. I do want to move on to other issues because there are actual political issues that you're here to discuss.
You can't make a point and then not be responsive.
Okay,
forgive me. Yes, you can be conservative, for example, socially, and not specifically. Politically generally means vote Republican. We don't tell people to vote anyway. In any direction. But yes, we do believe that America is the finest country ever founded. If that makes us political, we're political.
He admitted. There you go. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. And the fact that you are registered as a nonprofit because you're apolitical, oh my. All right. Well, yes, I'm glad you finally came to terms with it, said it out loud. There we have it. It's just in the public conscious now in 4K.
So I want to move on to.
It's so much sadder being like saying the reality of the situation, which is 1080p. You got caught in 1080p. Yeah, bro, that's right, 1080.
To other statements you've made, other issues. You know, you do focus on culture war related issues, your distaste, hatred for secularism. I want to start off without putting.
So my son just got back from the dog park, and look how fast this blackout is. Oh, you woke up? Did you know I was talking about you? It was like, blah.
Putting words in your mouth. I'm gonna show a video of something you said just yesterday on the Dennis Prager show that I thought was fascinating. So let's take a look at that and we'll discuss.
The computer sticker phenomenon is crazy. It was actually one of the biggest shocks I had.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
On your computer right here, people, instead of just having a blank back.
Oh, I see. They would have messages.
Yes. It would either be.
And what was the common message?
I heart women, or just the female sign, you know, the circle and the arrow.
I heart women on a woman's computer?
Yes.
All of this is proof to me that women need men. These women are manless. They may have hookups, but they're manless. And they might have been.
Like, I understand why people are so scared of platforming Dennis Prager, but it's like, it's your old racist grandpa. That's all it is. And it's just like, it's more funny than anything. I don't find him to be a dangerous figure. There are people who are very dangerous and powerful with their rhetoric and the way they speak, and like are very like good liars. Like, you know, Lauren Southern is a good example of that. That yes, it is different than platforming a Dennis Prager, an individual like this who is basically just like, women, I love lesbians. Lesbians, all of them. It's a world of lesbians. So many lesbians.
Fatherless too. Ending with my generation, I would say, and ending with the baby boomers, but certainly through then, a young woman thought a lot about, do I have a boyfriend? Mm-hmm. What will my wedding be like? What will I wear? Who will be there? Who will the guy be? That I believe is healthy and normal for a young woman. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing. That has been knocked out by the.
That is so creepy, by the way. Like, it's healthy and normal for women to obsess over what am I going to wear, who's going to be at my wedding, what is, like, this is medieval shit where the value is basically what powerful family can you be associated with? Who can we marry you off to? Like property. How much, like, what's the dowry going to be? How many cattle do I get for your bride? Is it going to unite two powerful families? Are you unbecoming of my class and stature? Well, then I will not use your brood mare for these purposes. Like, what the fuck? This is like, I know conservatives are kind of stuck in different time periods, but this one goes so far back.
The feminist left, and if you think about it, you're a weak female.
So fascinating statements there. You seem to believe that women who love themselves, who love women, who feel confident about being women, tend to be manless and lonely. Do you genuinely think that? Do you think I'm manless and lonely? I think women rock.
I said that in general, women need men, and I've said 1,000 times that in general, men need women.
Women rock,
dudes rock. The fact that that's controversial is a statement about what's happened to our culture.
But you got triggered by a.
It's so weird because no, not all women need men. Some women don't need men at all. Some women are perfectly happy to be completely single. Some women are asexual. Some women are lesbians. Some women are gay. Like a man is not a requirement. Like, how weird is it that your fulfillment as a human being must come directly from someone of a different gender? That's it. Like, you will never be fulfilled, and you will never be happy, and you will never succeed in life unless you have a man, a good man too, of course, of good stock. Good breeding
story about women who have laptop stickers.
You need a stallion
that just say positive things about women. Your mind immediately went to, they might have daddy issues.
By the way, this motherfucker is on his third marriage. We gotta bring that up. Like, has he denied 2 women happiness in their lives? Actually, I would concur. Yes, he has. Absolutely 100% has. But yeah, this motherfucker's on his third marriage. Who is he to talk about that? God damn, Anna should have brought that up. That would have been such a slam dunk here. Like, so if you believe that, why have you divorced women twice? Are you denying them their fulfillment and happiness in life? Or were they making you unhappy and you were making them unhappy and you didn't want to be together anymore? Because that's a totally normal thing. Like, it's just weird, this one size fits all prescription. It's totally fine. If you want to be monogamous, if you want to meet someone, if you want to marry them, and if you want to live your lives together and do all that, that's fucking awesome. Fucking go have fun, go do it. Healthy. It's also totally healthy if you don't want to marry someone and have children and you have to be like, that's your lot in life and your purpose in life. Also, totally normal, totally healthy. We have one version of the world that everyone tries to thrust upon you, and then whatever else you want to do is considered abnormal, not considered to be part of what a good society should do, what people should do.
And they're lonely, they need men. I want to understand your thinking. Like, okay, how do you get to that conclusion?
It's if you had a heterosexual man, with 97% of men are heterosexual, with a sticker, I love men, you would wonder why. Why don't men have stickers, I love men, but you think it's perfectly normal and a non-issue that women would have stickers, I love women? What is the point of saying that? It is worthy of a question. And I don't think that 50 years ago this would have been, obviously there were no.
I'm looking it up. So it changes with each generation. He's referring to older generations. 80% of people worldwide identified as heterosexual. 80%. That's closer to what I thought. I mean, I know it's very, very flawed, but the earliest studies on this that kind of showed that there's an actual scale to this, like the Kinsey scale. The Kinsey scale, rating 1 to 6, 1 being, I believe, completely heterosexual, 6 being completely homosexual. It turned out the results showed that a very large amount of people fell somewhere in between. Like there was a lot of like 1.25s, 1.5s, and a lot of like 5.75s, but like there was a spectrum, and then everyone was falling all over the place. You know, some people are like, I'm a dude, I like women, I'd say the majority of the time, but every now and then I do look over and I think, wow, that dude is really hot, and it's not as if I want to have a relationship with him, but maybe I would just like to explore some sexual feelings and get some release. Maybe that's how some people feel, all the way over to I am only interested in men, or I am only interested in women, somewhere landing in that whole place. Gen Z has the highest likelihood of identifying as bisexual. I think that might have something to do with the fact that like there's more openness, people like feel safe about this. I never would have talked about any of these kind of things when I was in high school, lest I be called more times the F slur and get like people trying to beat me up for yet another thing, because it's like you add that or stack it on the shit that like kids go after you for.
Laptops then, but I don't think it would have been a common sentiment. I don't understand why
it was the Thor movies. Yeah, that's
would
true.
Need to announce I love women if they're not a gay woman. You tell.
I love men. Dudes rock. I fucking. Oh, actually, this example doesn't work. Okay, I'm the bad example. But hey, to all the 100% heterosexual men out there, if you say dudes rock, you can say it platonically, right? You don't even have to do that weird thing that like, you know, straight kids did in high school where like, no homo, bro, no homo. You can just be like, dudes rock. There. I'm not saying that because I want to have sex with them. That may happen. But anyways, I'm just saying, dudes rock, that's awesome. The same thing applies to women. If a woman's like, fucking women rock, that's not like, lesbian. You would only say that if you want to be a lesbian.
Well, me, I'm curious. What does that signify?
Well, I mean, listen, as an individual who values free speech and freedom of expression, I think that women and men can have whatever laptop stickers they want. And the reason why there is a difference between men and women in regard to those laptop stickers is because, I mean, when you really think about it, women didn't have the right to vote for a very long time.
The Lonely Island song, No Homo. I gotta listen to that after.
Women didn't even have the ability to apply for a credit card until the 1970s. There have been equality issues when it comes to men and women. Now, we're getting a lot better, that's for sure. But first of all, I don't agree that women have laptop stickers that just simply say, I love women. It's probably some sort of empowering statement for women, but that doesn't mean, that doesn't translate to, oh, I'm a lonely, manless person, and I should go back to the good old days when women sat around thinking about whether or not they're gonna find a husband and get married. You seem to push your values and your views on relationships.
Okay, so by the way, again, like I said, Dennis Prager is not a fucking debater. He's so low on the tier. In fact, I would say more people who can get platformed by Dennis Prager, please do it on the left, because like obviously it is like trying to debate old racist grandpa, and the results are exactly as you'd expect. So in the middle of that, you could see him being like, fair enough, and like, I understand where you're coming from. Okay, well, these points are like, he was doing that in the middle of her sentence, and now as Anna is ramping it up, right? Like she's definitely going in for the kill. Which, like, you can already see, like, oh, well, no, I'm gonna have to get a little defensive there. Hold on, sweetie. I think first off, you should probably put on a little bit more makeup and smile a little bit more. You'd be a lot more friendly to talk to. This is a little antagonizing, and your voice is kind of shrill. You know, why don't you smile, makeup, shrill? Yeah, I've run through them all. And anyways, I got to get to this right now. You belong in the kitchen.
Relationships onto other people. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is, rather than making generalizations about what's best for women, maybe allow people to live their lives as they see fit, have a belief system as they see fit. Okay. Why do you feel the need to force your beliefs onto other people? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, okay, I don't understand the word force.
I mean,
the fact that you think that if I offer my opinion, I'm forcing people to adopt it is a bit odd.
You don't believe that America should be secular. So what does that mean?
Wait. let me finish that point.
Sure, go ahead.
I believe that I have the right, as you do, to offer people thoughts on what might be a better and happier life for them. I've written a book on happiness, which has touched a lot of lives if one wants to read the reviews on Amazon. I believe, again, that in
fucking 5 stars, bro. I saved the world. Basically, there's Jesus and then there's me. Have you read the Amazon reviews?
General, of course, every generalization has exceptions. Most women will have a better and happier life with a good man, and most men will have a happier and better life with a good woman. I don't know why that is.
Just not true. Not true. There's like that generality. It's just nonsense. And then you look at their studies. There are studies that show that women can be perfectly happy without a man in their lives. Like there should not be a one size fits all to this shit. Okay, it's totally normal and valid if you don't want to have a husband. It's totally normal and valid if you don't want to have kids. The weird pressure that society puts on, like, oh honey, what are you, 40 now? Ugh, you don't have kids, eh? Guess you're not going to really be able to. I mean, you could still adopt. You could still have a simulation of what you're supposed to do if you adopt. Why don't you get on that right away, honey? Because otherwise, I mean, what are you doing with your life? That's the only purpose you serve. I mean, come on. Women, they're there to give birth. We all know this. Panda Queer, thank you for the prime. Appreciate it.
It's controversial to state. All I know is that having adopted the view that career is more important than marriage has led to more depressed women than anything that preceded it. There are more.
It is 100% true that there is more depression amongst women and men now than there has been in previous generations. The reason for this, because, you know, this is not a causation equals correlation thing. He's completely misreading it, thinking that this has to do specifically because women have gotten more rights throughout history, and that is leading to their depression and downfall. If only they were the fucking breeding pods that we destined them to be, but unfortunately that's not the case. It's going up, and there is a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of things that can explain that, and a lot of them have a lot to do with capitalism, which is one of the things that obviously the right never wants to talk about. They're never going to talk about alienation. They're never going to talk about the fact that fucking people are working 2 or more app jobs, app economy jobs, inflation increasing, all these problems, corporate greed, all the rich getting infinitely richer. All that shit is happening before our very eyes. It's very easy to identify, but rather than that, it's the feminism. It's the feminist movement. Yes, allow me to distract you from all the real causes of rising depression. And yes, men are rising in depression as well, very rapidly, for a lot of reasons. And these play into it as well. Like fucking patriarchy is shit for dudes. It's really, really bad for guys. The fact that guys have this pressure to be the bread earners, in the way women's value comes from their looks, that's where we try to like in sexism, assert their worth. The same thing for dudes and their ability to earn under capitalism. It's like, you are only a successful person if you are able to climb to the top of the corporate ladder. If you're able to buy the fucking Bugattis and all the other cars and watches that you're supposed to own, have. You are only a good partner if you are earning a certain amount and providing for your family. That is what a man is, and that is the only thing a man is. And you must defeat all other men on that pathway. It's like Highlander rules. Like there can be only one, and then that one man will assert. That is the Chad. The ultimate Chad is the Highlander in society who rises, defeats all the other men, and then becomes the one true king who can have the Stacy of his dreams. Like, it's terrible for dudes. It is bad for their psyche. It's bad for their mental health. It is bad for their just ability to be normal in society. This whole like conquer all kind of shit. I must get every woman. Any woman I want will be mine. I will fucking slay all the puss. Like, that shit is terrible for dudes. It is so unhealthy. And it plays into this whole thing. It really fucking sucks that motherfuckers like this want to reinforce these old ancient paradigms that like women are basically supposed to be our servants. They're supposed to give birth to us. Men have to be the breadwinners, the conquerors, and defeat them all. The shit fucking, it destroys men and women's lives. It sucks.
Young women today depressed than at any time in American history. This is in the New York Times. This is not from a right-wing source. I think feminism has made women more miserable than happy.
So I'm going to address that in just a second, but I want to address what you said prior to that very quickly. So listen, I don't have a problem with someone saying women.
Rosie says men are discouraged from having friends. They can show their emotions, get emotional support from. It's like even saying I love you is like frowned upon in straight male circles. Trust me, I know, I'm part of many of them. And like, even like, you know, I have friends who are just, you know, good old cishet boys, couple cishet boys, and saying I love you. Like, you have to add, bro, or dude after, I love you, dude. You know, at the end, just to be like, oh, take a little bit of the pressure off that. Almost showed an emotion. Almost had a single emotion. I'm not supposed to have those. I know. Men aren't supposed to have emotions. That's a woman's thing. Only women have emotion. Nah, I gotta pack it all in here. Yeah. Anyways, let's go shopping for some tap out, bro. I'm buzzing on this monster.
Are likely to be happier in life if they find a partner to share their life with. I don't think that that's a controversial statement. What is controversial is you seeming to imply that feeling confident or supportive toward women and
Bobbin for Giblets, so true. When a woman has emotions, it's called hysteria. It's so true. I think, how many dudes have you spoken to where after the breakup, when they were fully in the wrong, by the way, or after a fight where they're fully in the wrong, it's like, oh, yo, no, that bitch is crazy. Let me just say this, okay? Yeah, no. She crazy. And then you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, she's crazy. Oh, okay, well, that explains it perfectly. So what happened again? Oh, I cheated on her like 40 times. Wait, what? Yeah, I know. Because she's crazy, dog. Like, it's wild. She's so crazy. Bro.
Being happy, single or in a relationship, that it's mutually exclusive. Like, you can't be supportive of women and have a happy life. Like, the weird connection that you tried to make there makes no sense. What was the final thing that you said?
I was speaking about the depression among women in today's time.
That's a great point. And you know what? That's right. There's actually increasing rates of depression and anxiety among men and women. I think that's important to point out. And you are concluding that it's because of, I guess, the breakdown of the traditional family, is that people who remain single.
I think that the belief that many young women have that if they find a man, that's a great thing, but the thing that will really bring them joy in life is career, has misled massive numbers of women into a less happy life.
Mr. Pickles, you are right.
Career is not as terrific as the feminists portrayed it as being. The joy available for most women with a good husband and making a family is incomparably more than from a career.
Have you considered some of the
so weird
economic issues within this country that don't really give women a choice as to whether or not they should focus on a career?
That's a very real issue. I fully acknowledge that. That if you don't have a career to fall back on and there's a divorce.
Dennis Prager hates men and women.
You're entirely right. That is not the same thing as saying career.
He's a sexist and a misandrist.
A great deal of meaning and happiness like a marriage will. You're entirely right.
Misogyny and misandry.
There is value in
fused
having
together.
a fallback career. I fully acknowledge that.
But I'm going further than that, because the idea that a family can live in a single income.
He wants, this is his worldview. He wants men to oppress women. And that's going to be basically like his standard, and advocating for it on a regular basis.
Household today is laughable. That is incredibly difficult.
Which, ironically, oppresses both. You know, like it keeps both sides in bondage. It's worse for women, no question. The patriarchy is obviously worse for women, but this idea is unhealthy for men as well. In servitude of this, you will oppress both genders.
To do. And so while the right wing and you yourself seem to have this idea that, well, women should focus on marriage, they should focus on building a family. First of all, you can't force anyone to do that, right? But let's say you want to encourage women to focus on that. You want to give them the choice, but you want to encourage them. A great way to encourage them is to create an economic system in which people feel comfortable knowing that they can survive on a single income household.
Yes.
I'm talking about when they're married, okay? Both individuals in a marriage have to work in order to be able to pay their rent, pay their mortgage, put food on the table for their children, educate their children.
Anna's 100% on point. Like in previous relationships, because I've been in other relationships where you fight about other kind of things, especially younger relationships where you fight about kind of like shit that seems super silly in like hindsight. It's like, why didn't you like my post on social media or something like that? But later in life, if you're in relationships, when you're older, money becomes such a frequent source of contention and fighting and like battling, and it sucks. Like the root of all this, the root of so many fights that we're having happens to be like money. Fucking like that is, these things should be met. People's material conditions should be met. That'll do a lot more to help depression than forcing women into bondage. You want to fight depression rates? You want to lower women's depression rates? Then stop trying to force them into servitude, into being your fucking bang maids, and work on meeting people's material conditions. Work on making their lives better. Work on making them have their needs met. Then they won't be depressed as much. Then they won't fight as much. They will have so much more ease in life. It's such a fucking like burden off your shoulders when you've reduced your debt. I say that as someone who's been very in debt at points in my life. When your debt gets reduced, all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, I'm so much less stressed all the time. I'm not thinking about it all the time. I'm not worried about it all the time. I'm not thinking about, holy shit, should I pay for this? Should I pay for that? Should I bank money in this? Like, holy fuck.
Wages have remained stagnant since the 1970s.
But what do I want to be forced into bondage consensually by my girlfriend? I mean, that's just a consensual choice that you've made yourself. In which case, enjoy. Have fun. Mashallah.
Women don't have a choice as to whether or not they can work or whether or not they should just focus on raising children. They don't have the choice. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Right, and we differ on that because the reason that many women, not all, but perhaps most even, are working is not just economic, especially certainly in the upper class, upper middle class, and even part of the middle class. It is because they believe that their self-worth derives more from work than it does from family. If a girl got up in a high school or college class, let's say a professor or a teacher said, so women, I mean, to the extent that they can now say that, because you can't say boys and girls in many elementary schools, because
the decline in happiness includes stay-at-home moms. What? No way. Dennis Prager has lied to us? The study reported reveals several findings. Women in the United States have become less happy, both absolutely and relative to men. The decline in women's happiness is a trend seen across groups, both working and stay-at-home moms, for those married and divorced, the young and old, across the educational spectrum. Maybe there's more going on to all of this. These same trends appeared across industrialized countries for which there is sufficient happiness data. Like, it sucks that, like, the right can make money and become popular off saying whatever they want. They get to say whatever comes to their head. You know, you can say, and it'll be publicized and promoted by Dave Rubin's show with Stefan Molyneux, that white brains and black brains have different weights. Like, that is fucking phrenology level discourse, and you can do that and make money off it, and people believe you, and they'll be like, what? There's a difference in the weight between a white brain and a black? Like, what are you saying out loud right now? This is the fucking plantation owner's fucking discourse. But this is happening now. And what was that, like 2016, 2017, the year of our Lord? And make fuck tons of money off it. And meanwhile, the left is like, here's all my academic studies, here's all my data, here's all the results, here's the fucking literature, here's the history of it, here's a whole bunch of books, here's some theory, can I give you all this? It's like, no, I heard the first guy. The first guy said the brain's way different. Yeah, because that means that black people are less intelligent than white people because their brains have different weights. He was first, and honestly, I'm going to just take his word for it. It's like, there's so much more work. There's so much more heavy lifting to be on like the right side, not even of history, which I will still say that. I know people get pissed off when I use that term, but of the right side of what is factually accurate or correct.
Because we're told by your side that sex is not binary. But let's say they say, we'd like the women in this class, please stand up and tell us what your vision for your life is. If a girl got up in a college class and said, you know...
Wait, did he just say you're not allowed to say boys or girls because of your side?
Boys and girls in many elements. A high school or college class. Let's say a professor or a teacher said, so women, I mean, to the extent that they can now say that, because you can't say boys and girls in many elementary schools, because we're told by your side that sex is not binary.
That's you. The Don't Say Gay bill was done by Republicans. You are the ones like removing the ability to speak about gender in the classroom. That's a you thing. There was no one on the left trying to restrict that. In fact, the left was trying to enhance people's education on these topics. That's 100% you. That's fucked. We could no longer say boys or girls in the classroom because of Ron DeSantis. Yes, that because of Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis did that.
But let's say they say, we'd like the women in this class, please stand up and tell us what your vision for your life is. If a girl got up in a college class and said, to be honest.
I mean, I hate trying to use this point because I think it's a tired one from the 70s feminist movements, but like a girl would not be in a college class. You understand why we're talking about these issues. They have different gravity based on the ages anyways.
My greatest hope in life is for a good marriage and to make a family. She would be regarded as almost a freak.
Would she? I mean, what is that based on? What evidence do you have to back that up?
I live in the real world.
So do I.
Okay, and you believe that if a girl got up and said that,
hell yeah,
she would be regarded with the same respect as the girl who said, I'd like
Prager,
to be a physicist.
I believe that most normal people are too busy thinking about how they need to survive and are less concerned about the aspirations of individuals in their classroom. And
by the way, excellent. Please, lefties, let's keep redirecting things to real world matters that concern everyone. Doesn't matter if you are a conservative, a right-winger, a Republican, stick to the issues and pull it back to that. When these motherfuckers try to distract everyone with the culture wars, when they're like, well, it's the left who banned the use of saying girl or boy, notwithstanding, if a woman wanted to say that she wants to be a wife, she'd be regarded as a freak. So like Prager, you have zero science or data to back that up. That's just your feelings. I mean, nice of you to bring your feelings to the debate. I hope they're doing all right. In addition to that, by the way, I think people are way more concerned about actually what affects their lives, having to work endless amounts of hours in jobs they hate for bosses that treat them like shit. That's going to be universal. That applies to a fuck ton more people than people who actually genuinely in their heart of hearts believe that if a woman says, I want to get married someday, that other people around her will call her a freak. It's the same thing with the anti-vax crowd, the MAGA crowd, who are like, the most marginalized community today is MAGA, or the most marginalized community today is someone who proudly says that they weren't vaccinated. It's like, I don't think that's the most marginalized communities. I don't think those people genuinely are being affected in their lives because of that. That's something that they can choose to be or not be. It's not how they were born. That's a pretty big difference. And also, you don't have to advertise it. You don't have to walk around in the women should not have bodily autonomy shirt. You could just keep that to yourself.
So if you have data backing up that women who want to be homemakers are persecuted in this country, I'd love to see that data. And I wouldn't agree with that persecution.
I never said they're persecuted.
You seem to imply that they're being victimized by wanting to be homemakers, and I just don't buy it.
Okay, fine. So good. This is a classic example of what I say on my radio show. I prefer clarity to agreement. You think that a girl who got up in a college class and said my most fervent dream is to have a happy marriage and a family will be regarded with the same respect as a girl who said I would like to be a physician or a physicist. We differ. Perfect. Okay.
All right.
You completely worded it differently. Okay. There's a difference between how they're regarded. That's one thing, as in what person, what someone will respect more for aspirations. And I would even agree with Dennis here between the two. If someone set up, it doesn't matter if they're man, woman, or they're non-binary, by the way. If you stand up and you're like, my dream is to be a physician, I want to help people and save lives. Yes, you'll probably be regarded in a higher regard than someone who comes out and says, my dream in life is to give birth. That's it. I want to be a breeding pod. I want to be married and also clean for a man. These are my goals and lots in life. Yes, the two of them will be different. But you specifically said, and this is important, that the other person would be regarded as a freak, and that is not true. If someone says my dream in life is to have a healthy and happy family, everyone would be happy with that and applaud that. There's no one who's going to be like, my dream in life is to have kids and love them. Everyone's going to be like, that's fucking awesome, that's wholesome, that's wonderful. Oh, I say this as a lefty who doesn't think that should be women's only purpose. That's wholesome, that's what you want. Cool, go forth and go do that if that's what's going to bring you happiness. Also, cannot ignore the face. That's a Caleb Maupin face if ever I saw one. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at this. Oh, so satisfied. This is satisfaction. Hold on. I'm gonna risk a fucking Dimka for this one.
Push me and then just hurt me till I get my satisfaction.
Again, if you have data backing up what you're saying, then I'm happy to admit I'm wrong.
Data. The teachers don't do this and then set it to a computer.
So you're just declaring, you're making up stories about how women are treated in the classroom, and we're just supposed to buy it? Okay.
We're each giving the perception of reality that we have. Not every perception of reality has a database. Otherwise, one is a functional moron if one cannot make conclusions about life without data.
Okay.
Says Dennis fucking Prager. Have you seen the fucking, oh man, I wonder if that's a Google Images thing. PragerU charts. I bet this is going to be, okay. Chat, link the ones if you have them, because there's other ones that are way better than the ones I think. Okay, here we are. I found one of my personal faves. Here's Dennis Prager on the data, okay? Here we go. Where's the study from? I'd love to know. And honestly, I guess based, you know, a lot of the things that are associated with femininity, I think men could use a whole bunch of sprinkling with. I don't know, empathy, pretty amazing trait. I want more men to be empathetic. Being able to have emotions and express them and feel comfortable with that, amazing. Let's give men some of that. Let's sprinkle these secret spices all over that shit. This is amazing. Yeah, but yeah, this is basically what you get from a Dennis Prager style data and analytics.
All right. So let's move on to right-wing violence. Following the Buffalo supermarket shooting, which of course was inspired by a belief in a conspiracy theory that whites are being replaced with minorities in this country purposely to keep...
Oh, I found it. Here we go. PragerU graphs. 1940s to the 1950s, labor participation rates, blacks and the whites. There you have them. Customer satisfaction versus profit loss, success and failure. Ooh, look at that chart. The line goes up. What do we got here? Masculine to the feminine. You've already seen that one, but there it is again. The decline of artistic standards. Look at this. We have actual fucking data on the decline of artistic standards. The most subjective thing ever.
Democrats in
power.
I
love it. It's just so rich.
You need to kind of downplay right-wing extremism in this country. And you said, quote, this man represents...
Oh, we have more? Oh, yeah, we got some others. Sorry, we can't lose any of the data. We got GDP per capita, years. What is this demonstrating? And now, US since 2017. Taxes, government regulation, economy. All right, good to know. Now we have the data. It's 100%. Apparently, 79% of all data online is made up, says someone who was saying that online. But who's to know, really? Maybe 69%.
Such an infinitesimally small segment of the white population. Now, while that statement might be literally...
Sorry, I'm sorry, Anna, you're doing great. That's an entire subject on Reddit, apparently. Reddit/r shitty data is beautiful. I didn't know that. I will be joining. Oh, you have to request the post. Okay, I understand. I'd be giving them false data, so that makes sense.
True, I don't think that the white population in America mostly consists of domestic terrorists, so I agree with you on that. It seems like you kind of want to brush aside the very real problem we're having in this country with political violence, politically motivated violence, and I want to give you a few other examples. For instance, the Southern Poverty Law Center did a poll and found that 7 out of 10 Republican voters believe in that white replacement conspiracy theory. Are you concerned about that at all?
Which is wild.
Right now, we have had, I believe, 2 million illegal immigrants. And the Democratic president.
What do you feel about white supremacy? Well, I feel that the filthy brown people are coming into our country and they're coming up and, well, I don't know what to say outside of we should probably stop that, right?
The United States has opened our border. There was attempt to close the border to illegal immigration. So I will ask you, and I mean this is not even as a challenge, I'm curious. Why do you think people on the left want millions of people to come in legally or illegally?
Well, let's first discuss the
for the votes, baby. It's part of the conspiracy. That's how we switch the demographics. Yeah. Because it's the humane thing to do. Because I don't think one person's worth is based on the melanin on their skin. I don't have a chart based on how much melanin your value as a human being should be. Maybe that, because it's better for society. It improves society. Diversity is a good thing, actually. It makes things way better. I would love to live in a multi-ethnic ethnic society and world. There you go. Those are the reasons.
Accuracies in your state.
Hey, Lost, good to see you again. He meant all the indigenous people who have been here when the ancestors were still in the Netherlands. Yeah, probably one part of Dennis Prager's thinking.
Statement number one: there are legal means to immigrate into the United States. So, for instance, the asylum seekers who are being used as political pawns by people like Texas Governor Greg Abbott. I'm not done. Or Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis,
Ooh, that one was making him big mad. You could see he was having some little bodily results. Don't talk about those. Martha's Vineyard, good thing. Yes, take that one, libs. We got the tears.
Came into this country seeking asylum, meaning they are here legally and they are awaiting a federal judge, an immigration.
Hey, what up, Kevin? Can everyone go to twitch.tv/lost, SIUX. Also go to twitch.tv/KFLogan1875.
Judge to make a decision about their asylum status. Okay, so the idea that the border is open and people are just pouring in illegally is inaccurate.
Yes, they are. No, it is accurate.
No, it's inaccurate.
So this is a perfect example of where we differ and there's no reconciling. Either you're right or I'm right. Either millions are coming in illegally, but whom you are calling legal because they're all seeking asylum. Do I hear you correctly?
We have a system in place for asylum.
Do I hear you correctly?
So are you?
Do you want to be on the record right now as saying that they should not be hung to death, exported out of the country, vilified, stoned to death? Are you going to say that on record, Anna? Are you willing? Are you willing to say that? Are you willing to take a stand right now and say asylum seekers should get asylum? Watch your words. You're live right now. There's 10K people watching this. Be very careful with what you say.
Are you saying that we should do away with that system? And if you are saying that, then it would require members of Congress to pass legislation that reforms our immigration system. But I mean, I think you'll agree with this statement. Members of Congress have no interest in passing any legislation or.
You know what's actually like extra fucked about all this is that like a lot of the problems in South and Central America, obviously caused by the US war on drugs and accelerated by US imperialism and colonialism, those people who want to leave those countries because it become very, very dangerous, want to go to America, saying if they are seeking asylum, like we have to watch out, these illegals are trying to destroy our country from within. They're trying to change the demographics of the voting system. This is a replacement of white people. It's like you are creating these very conditions. There's a reason why these people want to leave their countries.
Engaging in any immigration reform. We have companies and businesses that are exploiting undocumented immigrants for cheap labor, and they have no recourse. That exists. But they love the theater. Members of Congress love the theater.
For the record, I spit on corporations. They
What does that mean? I spit on corporations. I mean, okay, well, welcome to the left, comrade. He said the thing.
They are woke and
they are woke.
They are
of course. It never fucking ceases to impress me. Every single time you have a right to far right person be like, "Hey, I hate a thing," and you're like, "Whoa, I hate the same thing." It's like, "Yeah, I hate it because of the Jews," and you're like, wait, what? No, I hate it because they're exploiting people and it's horrible and they're a terrible company. Yeah, I know. Also the Jews. And you're like, no, the Jews have nothing to do with this. What are you talking about? You fucking weirdo. This is one of those examples. I hate corporations. I spit on them. And like, oh, okay, all right. You have my attention. Where are we going with this, sir? Because they're woke. Like, wait, what? Because they're woke. No.
Inclusive of labor at the same time. So you're not going to get any defense from me or any conservative of big corporations. I can't stand them.
Could not be a bigger lie. Let's be real. Come on. like, y'all love capitalism, baby. You run corporations. You run the world. Let's be real about this. I mean, you want to uphold white supremacy, patriarchy. This is your fucking bread and butter. You don't hate corporations. You like the idea of hating corporations because it's kind of like gives you the feelings. You're like, okay, yeah, no, the elites. I just get to use nebulous terms. The elites, the globalists, the fucking the new world order, all this kind of shit, and be like, yeah, the elites are coming after us. I hate the elites. Who are the elites? The Jews again? I don't know. Hillary Clinton, pizzas, Benghazi, you know, all that shit.
The fact that Disney will not even allow people at their amusement parks to say boys and girls anymore gives you an...
Not true. What? Could you imagine getting kicked out of Disney World because you're like, excuse me, where's the boys' room? You mean the washroom? Yeah, the boys' washroom. Yep. All right. So that is what we call pronoun crime. We're going to need to put you in cuffs. Goofy, get over here. Oh, did he say a pronoun? Yeah, you're going to jail.
Idea of how sick they have become in the wokeness of this non-binary evil. And that I do believe is evil. To tell little children you don't know if you're a boy or a girl until you decide. Do you think that's healthy?
I think it's unhealthy to spend the amount of time you spend in judging decisions that parents make about their own children. I think it's none of your business. I don't think it's anyone's business. And schools are not doing anything close to what the right wing is describing. I mean, it is amazing because you talk about Alan Dershowitz, who had written a column in the New York Times about how it should be okay to have sex with underage girls, okay? You don't call him a groomer, but you'll call our educators who have done nothing wrong, just want to create an environment that's welcoming to all students. You'll call them groomers, you'll defame them as some sort of sexual predators, and it's unacceptable. Just being clear about that.
I've never called them groomers. You have the wrong guy. But a teacher that has the kids in kindergarten
good for you.
Attend
good for
a drag queen story hour to see a guy in a dress dancing erotically in front of them, those teachers are what we would have called 10 years ago sick. They are depriving children of sexual innocence. And if that's not a sin on the left needs to do a lot of introspection.
I would love for you to apply standards like that to the former president of the United States, who you supported, who you endorsed. You have completely minimized some of the scandals that he was involved in, including paying hush money to adult entertainers he had cheated on his pregnant wife with.
Also, this.
An unusual one anyway. A lap dance in front of the entire class. Alicia Smith, pictured on the screen, accused of grinding on the 15-year-old, putting her head between his legs and fondling him. Smith reportedly admits to doing all this, but only after the rest of the class, she says, convinced her to.
Okay.
So, you know, I think legitimate opinion divides whether this was appropriate for the classroom or not. But there are people, hold on, so let me finish. There are people out there who believe that there ought to be criminal sanctions brought against this woman. And I think that's deranged.
So if the class had
because there's no victim here.
If the class had tried to convict her or convince her of committing a crime like killing somebody, which you've done it too.
But this isn't a crime. That's the point I'm making. A crime suggests a victim, and no one
there's no victim though? There's a 15-year-old kid, and then you have a grown-up teacher.
There's a 15-year-old boy.
15-year-old
So having been a 15-year-old boy, I can tell you, unless there's something we don't know about this kid's life has not been destroyed.
I have taught 15-year-old boys. I assure you they are still kids.
This is the dream.
They may be laughing, but I assure you.
This is the dream.
You're not embarrassed?
Well, no, look, I'm not saying I want this going on in my kid's school. I'm just saying, let's spare the outrage here and just be real about it, which
is... What are you talking about? She put her head between his legs.
Okay, she was, you know, acting out a lap dance.
He was acting out a lap dance. You know, that's the right when it comes to this shit.
I'm bringing that up because you have this weird standard when it comes to our educators, but no standards when it comes to a person who leads the country, who children look to as a role model. But anyway, we only have a few more minutes left.
No. If you throw out a point, you have to allow me to respond.
Okay, go ahead. We're running out of time. We have a hard out, so go ahead.
When I was a child, my father didn't say to me, I want you to look to Lyndon Johnson as a role model. This notion that the president's private life, John F. Kennedy had orgies at the White House. Okay, do you speak about that? I don't care about presidents' private lives, you do. I care about sexualizing children, you don't.
I care about fighting back against
Dennis.
lies regarding educators sexualizing children. That is not happening, but you guys do love to defame educators who are already underpaid, undervalued, and should be treated a lot better in this country. So I would love to continue this conversation. Unfortunately, we're running out of time.
I mean, here's something super easy to do. As a leftist, I will say, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, it's pretty disgusting how much close association they have with Jeffrey Epstein. Despise both of them. Both are huge weirdo creeps. There you go, Dennis. Super easy to do. Just, there's a standard. It's easy to follow it.
I'd love to invite you to our members only bonus episode if you're willing to stay for another 30 minutes. I don't know if you're open to that.
Yeah, I am.
Fantastic. Okay, great.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really,
that was good. That was good. I thought Dennis did terribly, but like it's Dennis, right? Like I don't really know what else anyone is expecting. I don't think he's going to level up and suddenly be like, well, you didn't know this, but I know some things. I say some things. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K, Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojak, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.